All right, we'll go ahead and get started. Appreciate everybody coming to the April 22nd special meeting of the Board of School Trustees. Call to order. Please show all board members present. Renee, where was she? Way down there, okay. And I believe our first order, our item of order is Mr. Loeffner, the principal, is going to speak with us.
Thank you. First of all, I want to thank the Board of Trustees and Dr. Mellon for having the board meeting out here today. Also, all the administrators for coming to visit our fine school. We're very fortunate to have the facility we have. Very proud of this facility. We're also proud of the accomplishments for Charlestown. Recently, we were graded as an A school, which we want to try to keep that on a yearly basis. And then just last week, we got good graduation rate news with 94%, and we want to continue those trends here at Charlestown. And the big thing that we're also going after and really trying to accomplish is the old early college high school concept. That's something we're moving towards and looking forward to in the future. So we have a lot of neat things going on here, and glad you could all join us here at Charlestown High School. Thank you.
Thank you for having us. All right, well, I guess the next item is the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next item is the approval of tonight's agenda. Are there any changes, Board or Dr. Mellon?
Motion to approve.
Thank you, Ms. Gilbert. Second. Thank you, Mr. White. All in favor? You have to tell me if anybody abstains. I can't see it. All right. Next item is public comments on agenda items, and I think we have one, Mr. Denton. So. Sure. Where do you come from? Oh, sure. You just stand behind.
And I just want to talk for a little bit on summer school, and I think some teachers, going back, I remember driver's ed used to be really a big thing in the summer, and we developed some rules because a lot of people, it seemed like Jeff Hyde was getting to teach all the driver's ed, and other teachers weren't getting, who had the license, but weren't getting to because they weren't at Jeff. So we made some adjustments, I'm thinking back in 1995. And those adjustments are still around, along with the board policy that goes with summer school things. And I don't know that a lot of other changes have taken place since then, but we may look at that this next year and spend some time looking at how we do summer school and how we might make some changes there. But overall, the teachers that I did surveys with and kind of a general poll, they like using seniority, but they like a seniority where if one person teaches this year, then that person goes to the bottom of the list, and the next person comes up, so it's more even, so to speak, so more people get a chance to teach summer school who like to teach summer school. They'd also like to be paid through Greater Clark and not through like communities and schools. Not that we don't like community schools, we do like communities and schools, but the pay then would be reflected on their retirement and taxes be taken out then, and some of those things. Then the teachers said they really prefer being paid through Greater Clark, so that was important to them also. And we definitely would like more money for summer school and maybe more time. Some of the people that I polled, and they're also referring to intercessions. They like intercession, but they thought that also ought to be paid through Greater Clark. So that's because we kind of look at intercession as not summer, but that's kind of like summer school for a lot of the kids to help them do a little better, to increase in their reading and math and some of those skills. So those are some of the general things that I gathered in the last week or so about summer school and getting ready for that and thinking about how we're going to handle summer school. I know we only have 9 days and a little bit limited, but still I think the kids get a lot out of summer school, the ones that get the chance to take it. Thank you.
Mr. Lincoln. All right, next item is board planning, goals and strategies. So, I'm sorry, it's the multicultural update, so. let's,
I will handle that for you,
so that
Mr.
was,
President. Board, thank you. I just, as part of our strategic plan, we have a multicultural component of our strategic plan. And it is actually inside our Student Achievement and Instruction subcommittee. And there are two specific goals that are built inside of that. One is that we want to give the district input and support on how to serve the diverse group of children in the district. And two, we want to develop a program or a process that will not only attract but retain minority candidates. And so with that in mind, the strategic plan, it had those goals. Well, we want to put an advisory together that could help us. And so we've had 2 meetings. Mrs. Kraft is your board representative on that advisory. And there are about 21 members. And we've chosen individuals from throughout Greater Clark representing diverse interests. And it's been a great group of people. And in the 2 meetings that we've had, we basically first conducted a SWOT analysis to make sure that we got people thinking about what are those strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats that do exist in our corporation, specific to being more sensitive to the diverse student body that we do have in our school corporation, as well as how do we better address this issue of attracting and hiring more minority candidates. So we did the SWOT analysis, and then our second meeting, we sort of wrapped that up and we started talking about what are some specific action steps that we could put in place to accomplish these goals. So for the first goal, which was to give district input and support on how to serve the diverse group of children in the district, some action steps that we've talked about, these aren't final yet, but I wanted to give you a sense, is first of all, we need to go back to talking to all of our staff about differences in awareness of people from different walks of life. And the majority of educators have a tendency to come from a middle-class background and environment. Well, really what we need to do is make sure that they understand what it's like for students who come from a lower socioeconomic situation. And sometimes that takes going above and beyond a little bit in terms of exposing them. One of those ideas is to Ruby Payne. If you've heard of Ruby Payne before, I was fortunate in my past to work for 4 years with her. She was a consultant in a school system in which I worked. And there are things that perhaps we could enlist from her and her experience that could be greatly beneficial to our district as a whole. So we thought that would be one way to increase the awareness piece. Home contacts was another Ruby Payne idea, where all of our staff go out before the school year begins and actually make a home visit to students that are going to be attending that school. Every staff member would be involved, and they'd go in pairs, and they would go to different homes. When I did it, we went to 50 homes in one day and said hello, and shook their hand, and welcomed them to the school, and look forward to having you come. And at the end of the 4 years that we worked with Ruby, and we did a survey, the number one positive experience for all of our faculty was the home visits, because they really got a feel for where our students were coming from. So those are 2 action steps there. Also the parent awareness piece, making our parents more aware within our community as well of the diversity and the benefits and strengths of diversity within our corporation. And the last one was mentoring that we talked about, is building a stronger mentoring program for students in our school system using community representatives. On the second goal, which was to develop a recruiting process that focuses on attracting and hiring minority candidates, one of the things mentioned, action steps, was on-the-spot hiring. That we go to these job fairs and we see these candidates that are highly qualified, and we'd love to be able to say, hey, based upon everything that we've learned and know about you, we're very much interested in you becoming part of Greater Clark. So something that is a potential action step is some kind of a process that would allow us to go and hire people. Again, we're looking at increasing the number of minority staff members in our school corporation. And one of the issues we talked about, to be honest, is there are not a lot of individuals out there from minority backgrounds that are even interested in education. So the pool is limited. And so when we get an opportunity and we find someone we really like, a disadvantage currently is we can't offer them a job. And there are other people at those job fairs that can. So that's one idea. We really need to do everything in our power to support our current minority staff and let them build their leadership capacity within the school corporation, and having them be great ambassadors in terms of recruiting individuals from a minority background. We also think we need to work on growing our own through our college and career readiness initiative and through the pathways. As we identified students in our school corporation that come from different walks of life, that we could identify them early, give them experiences throughout their high school days through different things like cadet teaching and so on, and then actually promote them going through their four-year college program and coming back and being part as a student teaching, et cetera. So can we build a pathway for our own students, which we think would be a tremendous action step. And then the last one was a PR campaign. We just really need to put we've done a lot of great PR. Aaron Bojorquez has done a great job along with our executive team, but we really believe that we need to sort of put a specific package together that can really entice individuals from a minority background to really show interest in us and get them to give us a chance. And so those, about 4 action steps per group, and we're going to meet again here, I believe in May, and at that point in time, the hope is that we'll finalize the action steps, and of course we'll bring a document back to you. But I've been very proud of the advisory members we have. They've worked really hard. They've done great work in a short period of time, and I think they've developed some really neat ideas for us to be able to accomplish that goal in our strategic plan. I don't know if you have any comments or any questions about that.
I have a question, Dr. Mellon. What hinders us from being able to do on-the-spot hiring versus, you said other systems have a way of doing that? Is it board policy? Is it our HR practices? What is it that we need to do?
I think basically
It's part of our contract.
master contract currently.
Hiring issues as far as salaries and just never had the board authority in the past to go out and recruit and make offers. It's not really an HR practice as much as it's just been not having the authority. And we have to post all the positions. We have a board policy right now that says every position, thank you, Amy, every position that's an open position has to be posted. So to go out and hire on the spot is against what our board policy says.
So what we would want to try to brainstorm, another place where I was, we knew about potential future openings. We had an idea of how many openings we may have. And then what we did is we encouraged those individuals at those job fairs. We said, hey, we have a great interest in you. And would you be willing to come to our school corporation and interview? And so what that did is that allowed us to do the posting piece and get that out in front, and then start to bring these candidates in from these job fairs because we knew how many positions we needed to fill. And so at least it wasn't the answer we wanted in terms of hiring on the spot, but by us really working hard to say, hey, we want you to come to our location, we're very interested in you. I mean, there's success in doing that. So I think we have to brainstorm that as part of this action step and come back to you as a board and say, you know, here's a recommendation, and let you consider it and see if it makes sense down the road.
That component of having to post all the positions is board policy and is in our teacher contract.
Well, I mean, I can see like what's the word I'm looking for? Like a reassignment opportunity or something, but as far as a brand new position is open, well,
Yeah, we'd have to start probably with the idea that we post those positions. And again, if you think that the way the current contract is written, one of the stipulations is when you post a position, if you have 3 teachers who are permanent, and they're permanent teachers, and they're all interested in that position, the current contract stipulates that you interview those 3 and you hire 1. But here's
that
the.
still leaves an opening.
It leaves an opening. So if you're strategic,
Right.
we need to sit down and work with GCEA, because we can't let our own current contract limit us in terms of the ability to hire the best people we can find. So, it's sort of we've got to honor contract and work within the contract, but we have to have some serious conversation for the future, because what we're doing is we're not able to go out and hire. And I'm talking about any high-quality candidate, regardless of the color of their skin.
Sure.
We need to be able to have the ability, if we go to these job fairs, we spend a lot of time and effort to be able to say, hey, here is someone that, this is a high, top-quality candidate that we need to bring in. So we need to be respectful of our current teaching staff, but we also have to understand that we're out looking for the very best possible teachers we can find. So I think between you as a board, our executive team, and working with GCEA, we're going to need to come up with a specific plan of action where we can accomplish that.
Even if we have our current staff shuffling around, that still leaves openings, because you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So there's gotta be a way to be more proactive on that.
The idea is, what happened in my past situation, we knew at the end of the rainbow, there were going to be X number of positions open. So even though certain teachers may move, we knew at the end of the rainbow, you had a set number of positions you can count on that would be open. And then therefore, you knew you better not overcommit to these individuals, young people. You knew that if you brought them in, that they had a great opportunity to be hired. You may not know exactly what position they would fill at the time, but they would fill a position.
Gotcha.
So currently, you're limited by master contract, board policy. If you get 3 employees apply for a job and you may have an outstanding 4th employee, that's not, 4th person that's not in the district, you have to hire one of those 3.
Right.
Okay.
For that position.
For that position, even though you may have somebody out here that
Right.
Correct.
is much better for kid's in that position.
You know,
So, yeah, there's some discussion, I think.
we want to make sure that everybody who works for us in every position is the very best possible employee we can find. And we also want to make sure within our organization that everyone is in a position where they're going to be successful.
Right.
So sometimes, as you know, board, in a short time that I've been your superintendent, we've had conversations about, what are the best fits for certain people. And maybe this person here would be a better fit there. And that's really what we're about, is we're trying to find the best fits within our corporation. But we also have to be wary of, as people are leaving us, we've got to bring in high, top quality recruits. And minority candidates, at least from what I've been told, is that there are not a lot of them to begin with. So if you find one, it's really at a position where they have many more options and opportunities to go somewhere else in the country and get a good job. So if we're going to compete for those top-notch minority candidates, we have to talk about what kind of leverage can we have to make an offer to those people and get them on board. So I don't have all the answers tonight, but we definitely need to talk about it.
Just one comment, Dr. Millen. I think you have to look at your recruiting tactics as well, because when you say you want to go out and offer a job to somebody on the spot, you really can't do that. You still have background checks, you still have reference checks, all of those kind of things. But, if we put you in a position where you can make that hire, then that's in the tactics that you use to keep that person interested until you can get through this part.
That's a good point. What we do oftentimes is say that here's a position contingent upon you meeting all these other conditions. And because I know this, that if we don't eventually get to that, then there will be someone else that's ready to make that kind of an offer to them. So I've seen that happen. And our kids deserve the best. So we will have more conversations moving forward and try to bring something new that has the detail that you would want.
I totally support the Ruby Payne's. I've worked with her and done some of her work with teachers in Willoughby Floyd, and I think that that was a good move on the part of the committee.
Thank you.
Thank you for your work on that, Dr. Mellon.
Thank you for the great advisory.
It is a good move, it really is.
We want to take an opportunity to thank Ms. Kraft for serving on that committee for us. All right, our next item is fund monitoring. Dr. Dykle, looks like you're up. Just got the red down.
Cindy, did we let you off the hook tonight? No policy reviews? Not this evening.
What I'm happy to report is our cash balance. All right, now it's not working. What do I get for $10? Anyway, bottom right-hand corner is $3,754,000 is what our projected cash balance is as of last week. Since then, we've had a couple of things that we know of that'll reduce it a little bit. One of the new things in Indiana is we have to project what our ADM is going to be, what our December 1 count's going to be, and then if we overestimate, then the state take it away because they base our funding on that estimate. So we know we're going to lose about $300 and some thousand over the next 3 months. We did get a $698,000 payment from Impact Aid. Oh, there it goes. Okay. Now you got it. Just don't shut it off. Yeah, I know, but it won't stay home.
You want me to hold it?
Yeah, you
hold
it. He'll be my assistant. Anyway, in the revenue for the general fund, we actually received this month, $698,000 payment for River Ridge, the impact for the ammunition plant. So that was a nice surprise, where last year we had received 4 payments because they were behind 3 years plus the current year. So now they're up to date.
So that's current year, Dr. Dykle?
Yes, that is current year. And the process that Travis and Melanie had to go through has really been simplified. It's now only 4 pages, so it makes my life a lot easier. So right now, we're looking at $3.7 million. We know we're going to lose about $400,000 over the next 3 months. We also have to worry about, we still need to bring all of our employees up to their full dollar amount that they should be because of those half steps that we incorporated for a couple years. So that'll also take that down. On the good side, it'll go up a little bit because of the retirees and the people leaving. And then once we find our new hires, and then we'll see what the net effect will be, plus or minus, so then we'll adjust it probably closer to August, July, August, when we know who the hires are. Go to debt service. There's a new law that came out, and I signed up for this. If our loss because of tax caps in transportation is more than 10%, we can actually spread out our tax caps over the 2 protected funds, which is debt service and pension debt. So I've asked the state to do that for us. So instead of capital projects getting hit with about 66% of the tax caps, and then transportation operating getting hit with about 30%, and then the balance going to bus replacement, it'll actually be 50% going to debt service. So about $900,000 will be taken off of debt service. And it'll save capital projects, transportation operating, and bus replacement, and then a little bit will come off of the pension bond. So we could do that for the next 3 years. So that's my plan. As long as our tax caps are more than 10% in transportation, we could do it. So that cash balance that you see there, that'll go down once we get the information from the state. Pension debt, again, that cash balance of $544,000, or 1.6 million, that'll go down slightly. It won't go down very much at all. In capital projects fund, the next one, we were showing $1.5 million being reduced. Boy, you're good at this, Andy. I like this.
I just stopped moving my hand.
The $1.5 million will drop to somewhere around $800,000, so we'll save about $700,000 in property taxes and capital projects fund, which is a welcome relief because of all the things that we haven't been able to do over the years. So right now, we're looking at about a 687, go down a little bit, there you go, 687 cash balance, so that'll grow, and then we'll end up probably doing more projects during the course of the year, so that'll come down. Transportation operating, we were losing 215,000, go up a little bit, okay, and that'll come down to about 100,000, and then the 151 will go up by about 100,000, so that'll be great. Now, once you approve the contracts for tonight, then we'll go in and we'll adjust where we think the contracts will be in the operating fund and bus replacement fund for the contracted drivers. So we'll have to adjust those after tonight. And then in the bus replacement fund, the 322,000, we'll come back to you later, and after we see what the contracted drivers will cost, then we'll come back and look at buying some maybe minibuses that we really desperately need for the high schools. So that'll reduce that. We're also building in 400,000 in there for buses, big transit buses that we need. So that 322 is artificially high. It'll come down. And then the last one is the rainy day fund. And we owe $250,000 back to the rainy day fund. The board gave us permission to take $500,000 out for Project Lead the Way for all the equipment. We made our first payment back in December. We'll do the second one in June. So our cash balance will be $3.7 million in the rainy day fund. So, any questions?
Listed balance of rainy day.
You don't want me to dance.
All right, we've got a recycling update. I guess you're still there.
Yes. Just to give you some idea, we're now 6 months into our recycling program. We have now recycled 120 tons of garbage, 240,000 pounds. So I'm really pleased with that. So it didn't go into the landfill. We actually sent it to the recycling center. So we're saving our landfills. We're trying to be a little environmentally friendly.
On Earth Day.
Earth Day, did you plan it?
Yeah.
Today's Earth Day.
Today's Earth Day, jeez.
What do Pleasant Ridge and Johnson Jennings do
Yeah.
to attain their numbers?
I don't know what the heck they're doing, but they're
I
doing
mean,
a
what do y'all
lot.
do? Look at your
We
numbers.
have containers everywhere. I mean, you cannot go
We
very
put
far
containers
without,
out there.
we have paper, I mean, paper is our biggest one to recycle, also cafeteria. I can't say enough about how Airmark's worked with our cafeteria to really help us do that recycling initiative, but our kids collect it, they love that, it's a job for them, and so we can't go
You
very
can
far.
spread that around because those numbers are.
Now, there's no truth to the rumor that the custodians have been helping you unload your car with recycling from home.
No, you can't prove anything.
To the landfill.
That's right, we're saving landfill, right? I mean, come on.
But anyway, I think this is a good start. We've diverted 240,000 pounds to going into our landfills that are now recycled. So,
Earth Day.
any questions? We'll go over it.
Yeah, Jerry's right though, Pleasant Ridge, you're right
The
behind
next
Jeff
is,
High. That's amazing.
Food service review, and Ms. Turner, I think, is going to walk us through that.
Thank you. Good evening, Dr. Mellon and Board. Thank you for allowing me to be here tonight because I'm really excited about some of the cool things that we're doing in our food service. I think, yeah, well, not the video, but just the presentation. And I can kind of walk you through the March update that we've had. There we go. So as you see, we like to always kind of put a friendly face on the front of our update, and this here is a picture of our National School Breakfast Week over at Wilson Elementary, and Ace is our mascot for our nutrition, and so you'll see him throughout the presentation and then a little bit later on. Okay. So Anyway, I appreciate the opportunity to just kind of talk about the good things that we're doing right now, not only for our students, but also for our adults within our corporation. First and foremost, in March, we did the first round of I-STEP testing, and as we've done in the previous years, we were able to feed all of our K through 8 students with a free breakfast to kind of fuel their brain and get them ready to go, so they were more focused on the education and the testing period versus worrying about if their bellies were hungry from the night before, or maybe didn't get fed of a morning. I'm very pleased to report that specifically just for I-STEP breakfast alone, we served approximately 500 plus extra breakfasts than what we do on a daily basis. So that was a very positive thing for us, and I really feel like I got a lot of great feedback from the principals that there was less nurse visits because of upset stomachs. So that was a very positive thing. And then also on March 18th, we were able to provide our juniors that were taking the ACT testing with a snack before, well, I guess in between taking their test. And then also we provided them with we would like to say a reward lunch. We had Papa John's come in, and we were able to turn that into a reimbursable meal. So that was also another positive thing for our kids as they were taking tests. Secondly, another good thing that we've done is we wanted to hear what our students are thinking about our menus, about our nutrition, about the things that are just going on in general. And usually in April and May is a time where you see declining meal rates come in. And so we wanted to make sure that our students got their voices heard and we were able to listen to what they wanted to do. Prior to doing this presentation, I hadn't got the results back, and I do have them back now. So I'm really excited as I'm getting ready to publish the main menu. We've taken their voices and we've put it into the main menu and given them really what they've said. There wasn't too many negative things, which I was really pleased to hear about that. One thing that a lot of the kids wanted to see was more variety of fresh fruits and vegetables, which in the elementary I feel like we do a great job of that, but maybe in the secondary schools we don't do as good a job. So that's one thing our focus is going to be, especially going into the summer months, spring and summer months, where we can get a better deal on our food. So, and then also today I had the privilege of going up to New Washington, and I met with the middle school and high school kids. We did a taste testing of a new product that we're going to bring in starting tomorrow, and it is kind of a slushie. We're really excited. It's a brand new product out. It's 100% fruit juice, but then they put it in a machine and they make it into a slushie. So it's a really good incentive to get the kids to have a different alternative to an apple or a banana. And so while I was up there, I actually went out and talked to the students, and I sat down with a group of about 6 middle school guys, and I asked them specifically if they took the survey, and they all said yes. I said, okay, well, tell me what you liked about it. And they actually were able to tell me specific questions that they answered. So I was really happy to know that they took the time and the effort to go in and take that survey. And so I was actually able to reply to them that one of the things that they wanted to see was different cuisines from around the world. So in May, we've added a Korean dish, we've added an Asian dish, and then of course Mexican is the favorite all around. So we've just enhanced our Mexican dishes. So that's a really positive thing that I'm really excited to see at a time when normally participation declines. I'm hoping that we stay steady or even increase. Next, another thing that I'm excited about, as you guys all know, Utica-Sellersburg Road is going to be closing here in the next couple weeks. And I've had a lot of people at the administration building ask if we can provide lunches for them. So sent out a survey to everybody, and we have now started food service at the admin building. And some days are slower, some days are more exciting for us, but they bring in anywhere from $5 to about $45 more a day in food service, and that goes into Utica's food service funds. And the manager over at Utica has been great, and his staff's been on board to really provide a nice meal, I hope, with fresh sandwiches and fresh salads, fruit, things like that. So it was an exciting time for us.
What time is that?
You gotta have your orders in by 9 and we deliver by noon. So, and you can set up your account too. So, and Mr. Pavey, I have to admit, your wife was very helpful in getting my technology savvy forms out, so I appreciate that.
You've been very helpful in delivering meals too.
Thank you. So then kind of the greatest thing about the presentation tonight is about our National School Breakfast Week that took place March 7th, I believe, that week. And Wilson Elementary is one of our team nutrition schools, and we received a couple grants over the course of the year. We were able to provide them with breakfast in the classroom, which we do in other elementary schools, and they were our first one that started. And then we also applied for a second grant for the Healthier U.S. School Challenge. And because we get those grants, we have to do specific events throughout the year. And National School Breakfast Week, we teamed up with Kellogg's, General Mills, and Dean's Milk, and we were able to put on a fun activity for our kids to do. We invited the Cool Kids, the YMCA, and the Kids World, and the Communities and Schools daycares over to Wilson, and we kind of got to teach them what nutrition was all about. So we played a little game. Ace, our mascot, was there and provided breakfast with everybody. And then Dean's Milk also provided milk mustache stickers for our kids, as you can see in the top left corner. It was really fun. The kids thought it was really fun to put on the milk mustaches. So if you guys wouldn't mind turning around, Renee, there's a video here, it's like 45 seconds of an activity that we did that got the kids up out of their seat and kind of danced.
Here you go, Mr. Dykoff.
Turn around. Cherry, fruit, stop the ground. Cheese, dairy, clap. Grain, snack. Protein, not your head. Now grab a sweet, but not too much, I said. It's just because it brings
So that was a fun event. As you can see, the kids got really excited about nutrition, and they were able to learn different fruits and vegetables that they may not see on a daily basis. So that was a really exciting event for us. In addition to all the things that we do for our students, we also, I guess one step back, but our catering, as you guys all know, Chef Chuck does a lot of catering events, and it's really picked up in the last couple weeks, and our schedule is very busy. So very positive thing for us. Through March of last year, we were at just shy of $22,000 in catering sales for our school district, and already this year through March we're at $34,500. So big increase, and that is just pretty much word of mouth of everybody and wanting to keep funds in our school district, because that goes right back to Greater Clark and our food service department. So I appreciate the help of Chuck and everybody else to participate in our catering. And then finally, just a financial snapshot of what you can see. Because of the snow days and the 2-hour delays that we've had, I've switched up how I want to report this to you. And as you can see on here, these are meals per service day for breakfast alone. And this is just March of 2013 compared to March of this year. For breakfast alone, we are up just under 800 meals per day for breakfast. A lot of that is because we did the breakfast in the classroom over at Wilson, which took us from 23% participation last year to 78% participation this year for breakfast. So that is a great example of why it's so important. Excuse me. And then also in those numbers are, like I said before, the I-STEP, and when we served about 500 plus extra meals, breakfast meals per day. Lunch, kind of steady right there, about 200 meals more over March of last year. So we're still working to get that to keep climbing. Overall, our total meals are up about 500 meals more. So we have seen a slight decline in our a la carte sales, but because of our reimbursement meals going up, we feel that that's better financially for us anyway. Also, in the meals, we had the opportunity to serve breakfast and lunch during intersession. During that week's time, we served an additional 6,000 breakfasts that week, and then we served an additional 7,000 lunches that week. So it was a great positive thing for our kids to come in and learn and not have to worry about being hungry. And then at the bottom, as you can just see, that those are our year-to-date numbers over last year-to-date. Profitability, we're up about $12,000 at this time, over this time last year, which I think goes to show that we've really decreased our expenses since we've lost out on so many days. So, and again, that goes back to our higher free and reduced participation, which increased our reimbursement rates. And then finally, I would just like to talk to you a little bit about our extended school day. Very quickly, all of us got together and we decided that the extra 45 minutes was really beneficial to spend our time on education and making sure that the kids learned in the classroom versus anything else. So within a week's time, we got together with our vendors and we provided snacks for the elementary level kids. And just in 1 week alone, we served just shy of 23,000 snacks to our kids. And through the first 2 weeks, we were just shy of 37,000. So over the course of the 24-day span, we are hoping to serve about 110,000 meals to our kids so they can keep their minds on education versus being hungry. So I appreciate your time. Is there any questions or comments?
What does the snack consist of?
There's a variation of it, anywhere from animal crackers, graham crackers. We have what's called a cereal on the go. Because we're getting reimbursements for it, we actually have to meet specific guidelines. We didn't want to do anything that required refrigeration, so that took out juice and milk and string cheese and things like that. So, but we are doing fresh fruit, so apples and bananas, just depending on the school. But those are the primary snacks that we do.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Anybody else?
Well,
Thank you.
Thank you. Well, I was going to say thank you for the update tonight. I will say I was at Utica today for a school visit, and the tacos were outstanding. So, good job.
Great, thank you.
All right, next item is the College and Career Readiness Advisory Update. So, Mr. Hare, take us through that.
Sure, you can hold, you want me to hold this up, is what they're saying. Thanks, Mr. Pavey, thank you. Board, I could talk for an hour tonight about all the things that we've been doing with college and career readiness. It's really kind of a treat to kind of update you. Some of this you've heard a little bit about, but kind of want to give you an overview of where we're at. And thought we would start with the video. Renee, if you'd start with that. This is the newest video, if you don't mind turning around and watching. This is on the pathways, and she hit play too fast, Daniel. Board, you've heard me say I'm pretty concrete, sequential, and wanted my note cards to give Daniel, and how he came up with that after with just 5 pieces of chart paper that I used in a brainstorming session. But kudos to Daniel, he put that together. Really a talented individual. And then in addition to that, we'll have, as you saw, there will be a readiness website that our kids will be able to go onto to get more information about this. They'll be able to use the Naviance, and we'll talk a little bit about that tonight. Just a phenomenal job there, Daniel, and we'll be ready to push that out in about a week. He's going to tweak it. It's just not quite where he wants it. He wants to tweak the music and make a couple of changes in some of the schematics. But we'll be ready to push that out. Our counselors will use that to introduce the pathways to our students, and then we'll link it to our website as well. So pretty excited about that. Again, just wanted to update you tonight kind of where we are in college and career readiness. And the first thing is junior achievement. And we've talked about junior achievement with you before. Just wanted to update that our seniors at Jeffersonville High School in Charlestown have all been to Finance Park and have had a tremendous time with that. I've been over a couple of times when we've taken our field trips over there, and have really had a lot of success there. The JA volunteers, we've had JA volunteers in all of our career classes, both at the middle school career classes and at the high school career classes. And then in addition to that, this last 9 weeks, and we're starting to use Junior Achievement for job shadowing. And Junior Achievement has several businesses that they've allowed us to work with Junior Achievement to go out and do job shadowing. At Jeffersonville High School, we have taken a couple of groups to Jeff Boat, and we've been to Amitral. At Charlestown, we've been to Carmen Industries, and we have a bank lined up, and then we're going to take about 100 kids out to IUS and let them see the different jobs and careers that are out there at IUS, and all of that is through Junior Achievement. So a lot of work is going on at the building levels to get our kids out and exposed to that through job shadowing. So very excited about that. Work One, you know that we have the partnership with Work One through our JAG program at Jeffersonville High School. JAG still is up and running at Jeffersonville High School, meeting 3 periods a day. We've talked about those kids the last time that we met. We have a JAG meeting coming up in the next couple of weeks where we will review the data, and we'll make sure we get that to you, and then start looking at what types of students and the kids that will be continuing for next year, and then recruiting juniors to fill those slots. So we'll start working with that. The other piece from Work One is the Career Expo. And this was only the second year that Work One has done the Career Expo, and they invited us to send our students. We took probably about 150 students district-wide, high school, juniors and seniors from all 3 high schools, and took them down to New Albany to the Work One. There were about 44 booths of potential employees that were there. Our kids were able to go around and network I've talked to Jackie James. We went down there and kind of checked in. Kids did a great job. Behavior was outstanding. We actually had one student from New Washington that was hired on the spot. So a lot of success. And then in addition, Christy Steller took a group, and we're going to talk about some of those folks later on, but really starting to make a lot of business connections with the business community in those types of settings. So a very productive day. And again, I'm looking at Mark and John, because board, it's not easy to load up kids and put them on a bus and interrupt the school day. And we're asking it a lot. And really, we've got a lot of the counselors and administrators in our buildings that are doing it, and they're doing it extremely well. And when we say, hey, we've got another opportunity, okay, who are the kids? And we're really, really targeting and hitting a lot of those backbone kids that wouldn't get this experience anywhere else. So a lot of work going into that. The cell, we will be going to that next week, right, Mark? You'll remember, board, that's where we will be able to offer the associate's degree to our seniors whenever they graduate at Jeffersonville High School and at Charlestown. Also, during intercession, kind of a neat story down at Jeffersonville High School, we were able to test about, almost 50 students who needed to pass the AccuPlacer in order to get dual credit. And we had over 50 students pass AccuPlacer during intercession that now they will pick up dual credit, and they hadn't passed it the first time they took it during school. So we were able to take advantage and capture about 50 additional dual credits with those students during intercession. And we'll continue to work on that. Naviance board, this is something that is really exciting, and the counselors are really going to get this thing up and running. Because of the snow and because our counselors have been scheduling kids for next year, we're a little bit behind, but we've had to push everything back, and it's just because of the snow. We did the second day of training with our counselors today. The third day is on Thursday, and really excited with what they can see and what they're going to be able to do with Naviance. We are currently in 9th grade. We're using it in the careers classes. We will train those teachers formally next week, but those 9th grade students in the career classes will be able to work on the resumes. And then Road Trip Nation is where they can actually go in and find careers and explore careers, and there are little video snippets that they can watch on the careers, and we'll utilize that with the career classes. The 10th grade, our counselors will go out and introduce Naviance, and that's where we'll use the video kind of as an introduction to introduce the software of Naviance. And then our 11th grade, there's a piece in Naviance where students can journal or keep track of what they find when it comes to careers or colleges. It's a two-pronged journaling piece. And our 11th graders, we're going to roll that out and let them journal. There's a junior college day coming up on April 26th at Jeff I, and then we're going to do something similar here at Charlestown. And then the 12th grade, that's where we'll do the senior survey and start working on that alumni tracker. And that's something that we've talked to you several times, boards. How do we keep track of our students who graduate and what happens to them in 2, 3, 4 years? So a lot of work, really. Counselors today in the training, they actually logged on to Naviance, took an inventory, a career interest inventory. We look at the careers they were interested in, and then they were able to go out and look at what type of education they would need to pursue that career. So really did a lot of work with them today that they will then use with students. So we're going to bring back an update on Naviance probably in the next couple of months, but want you to see this. But it's really going to be some cool things, and it's the right direction. Speaking of cool things in the right direction, the College and Career Center, if you haven't been by Jeffersonville High School, they've actually done a little bit of remodeling down by the Media Center. And there's actually a College and Career Center that we will have up and running. It's in the Commons area for next year. Charlestown High School, Mark has one here currently, and he and I have talked about how we're going to expand that and possibilities for next year to really make it a little bit different than just a counseling area. It's actually going to be something kind of unique and special where we can roll out the college and careers. And then we have received word over the last couple of weeks that there's a possible grant from United Way that they are going to help us with startup costs in both of the college and career centers, with whether it be computers or desks, tables, chairs, those types of things. So very exciting, and we'll keep you up to date on that as well. Another piece that we're going to do on the 29th is financial literacy. This comes out of the Indiana Council for Economic Education, and it's through some partnerships with IUS. A professor at IUS approached Dr. Mellon, and we were able to sit down and have a cup of coffee with him, and really makes sense. This Financial Fitness for Life is actually a curriculum on financial literacy, and they are going to come down and train our career teachers for free, and then give us the curriculum for free. So it's a win-win, and it's everything from not only balancing a checkbook, but all the way to student loans and how do you pay for college and how do you find work over the summer and those types of things, and everything in between. 401ks, 403bs, 520s, everything in between. So really a great opportunity that our career classes will be able to use, and those will be our high school career class teachers. Also on that day, they'll receive their formal training on Naviance, and then they'll also get some training on Edmentum, which is our credit recovery program that they use. There's a college and career piece there that they'll use that. So a lot of training on the 29th for our career teachers. General Electric, we've talked a little bit about the partnership with GE and Ivy Tech. This is an opportunity for our seniors to possibly walk out and graduate. I think the vision we have would be that they would actually graduate from high school and have a credit or two towards this industrial maintenance program. It's about a 12 to 18-month program out at Ivy Tech. GE would be willing to pay for that, and then these students would be able to finish up their education at Ivy Tech, as well as having a part-time job with GE that then would lead into future employment and actually a phenomenal career in industrial maintenance. There's truly a shortage of those students. We've met with a couple of the folks at GE and Ivy Tech, and really have this up and running. We've got our next meeting is scheduled with the high school principals to sit down and talk through this. GE is also interested in helping us with our teacher externships, and that would allow our teachers to go over and spend time at GE and learn the different careers, whether it be on the job or in industrial maintenance or in HR behind the scenes. So they were really willing to open up those externships to us, and then they invited us over to host a counselor meeting. And we've been taking those counselor meetings on the road, so we'll take that over to GE, and they're going to host one of those for us. So a fantastic partnership with GE that's starting to bloom there. The other one is IU Southeast, and we've talked about this one with you before. Really working with their student services, with admissions and financial aid, and working with our counselors to better understand what they're looking for. I've shared this with you before, Board, that we have a meeting coming up where we're going to be able to sit down with our counselors and talk to the admissions counselors at IUS and talk about our students that will be leaving Greater Clark, that will be attending IUS, and actually sit down and talk about that transition period. We do a pretty good job 5th to 6th and 8th to 9th, but then going 12th to being a freshman in college. And that, what IUS is doing is they've got a very prescriptive formula for freshmen who are struggling, but they don't identify them until October or November, which is pretty late in the first semester. If we can sit down with them, with our counselors, and say, okay, here's what we know about these kiddos, and here are their math grades, here are their English grades, here's what their math teacher is saying, and here's where they might struggle. And it's our hope that we'll make that transition for those freshmen to IUS a lot smoother. We'll be meeting with the math department, and then they, part of that prescriptive piece for their freshmen that are struggling, they put them in an actual college and career class. And we're meeting with the college and career professor out at IUS, and she's going to work with our college and career teachers. She's actually written 2 books, and that's the curriculum that they use out at IUS for college and career. So we're going to kind of talk curriculum and really put a pacing guide together this summer. So that's some of our summer work that we'll do with college and career, or with those career teachers. The College and Career Advisory, we've been updating you with that. We have another meeting on this Friday. And what we did the last time was we had them in groups, and we said, if you could brainstorm, and let's put something into place here with the College and Career Advisory. And we called them action steps. And we said, what as a business community, as business leaders, can you do that would be a call to action step? And we had a form that we gave them, and they filled out the different action steps. And then Dr. Mellon and I sat down and we kind of lumped them. It just kind of took on its own, life. It was able to kind of go into 4 categories: awareness, work ethics, certification, the college career readiness implementation, and then they had some things that were already in place. So we're going to give this to them on Friday. They have not seen this. Their work was to actually list these, and then we've put them in this document, and we're going to go back over this document with them on Friday. So we have a great meeting planned for them on Friday. The college and career staff presentations, there will be some different types of movements with the staff, and that's a lot of that is on the board agenda for later today, and we can talk about that. We've got counselor meetings that are continuing, and then I think this is exciting, board. We've had two state meetings that have actually reached out to us and have asked us to present on the college and career readiness. The State Youth Council meeting reached out to Dr. Mellon. IYI, the Indiana Youth Institute, reached out to me, and we're going to do a roundtable talk with them. So people in the state are starting to hear about what we're doing and wanting us to share the story and kind of what we've been doing. This is separate from the grant that we've talked to you about, board, but actually, going out and presenting across the state with some of the things that we're doing. So we're pretty excited about that. Those are meetings that will come up this summer. Partnerships, we continue to work with partnerships. Met last week with just recently with Beach Mold and Tool, and had a great partnership with them. They had actually heard about what we were doing and reached out to us and said, is there any way you've got room at the table for us? And we said, sure, what are you thinking? Well, they're thinking they would like 10 seniors to come out and do an internship and lead to a possible career. And we said, yeah, when can they start? So we've invited them to the advisory council on Friday. And, we said the best thing is, and it's Dr. Mellon's line, I've been using it, we're not asking for money, we just need some resources and give our kids an opportunity. And we had a great conversation with them, and we're really going to have a tremendous partnership with them too. So looking forward to continuing those as well. Board, this next slide, the 21st Century Scholars, I will tell you that while I'm excited about everything we've talked about, this is the one area where I have to do better. And I'm going to own this one because we've been talking, and the board, you approved a strategic plan about the 21st Century Scholars, and we've got to make this important. You know that it has been a program that has ebbed and flowed under its direction, but it has too much to offer our kids. And what we've got to do is create a better system where we are getting our kids involved in 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, and then tracking them throughout high school. And board, we've shared with you that part of a job description and what we're looking for next year would be to actually put this system into place. There are over 200 7th and 8th grade students enrolled. That number really should be 3 or 4 times that when you look at our free and reduced lunch and what our population could be. There are 50 more pending. I have been talking to the counselors, and in an effort to kind of triage this for right now, we've got to focus on their 8th grade, because if they don't sign up by the time they start high school, they lose out. So we've got to make sure we concentrate our effort on these 8th graders for the next 7 or 8 weeks, understanding that it has to become a focus and a priority for next year. So as we're doing a great job getting everything lined up for job shadowing and the field trips, this is kind of taking a back seat, and it's something that we've got to make it more important and bring a system in place where we're doing it in all of our secondary schools. And we'll do a better job of that in the very near future, and then I'll bring you back a report next year, because we've certainly got to make this a system and do better. So we recognize that, and I want you to hear that.
Can you remind us what the benefits of the 21st Century Scholars
Yeah, and I'll
Program
have
is?
Dr. Melton help me, but they pay basically tuition, and it's based on free and reduced lunch, and that's what's difficult, is because it used to be a paper and pencil application, and now it's gone to online, and you're asking a population that may not have access to that. So we're trying to bring them in and get them to fill it out in the schools. And then the other thing is, it does ask for some sensitive information, because it asks for their income and social security numbers, and it is, people are sometimes funny about that. And what we've got to do, Ms. Perkins, is do a better job of telling them what the pluses are, and that's why it's important to give this information, is because here's what you're going to get on the back end.
It's tuition for state
supported school, and a pledge to be drug-free, I think.
And don't they have to do something about their grades too, keep their grades?
They have to have a C.
C average, drug-free.
So it's the right thing. It's
Right.
just, we have struggled getting the
It's
parents to
huge.
help us.
It is huge.
It is huge.
Free college degree.
One of the things that down the road was to think about, Kalamazoo, Michigan has what's called the Kalamazoo Promise. In 2005, 5 major investors got together. They said if a Kalamazoo Community Schools student, and that's a diverse demographic up there, if they graduate, then we will pay for their college education. I don't know all the specific details, and my assumption is at least the tuition piece that we've talked about. So, and they've spent, I think, $50 million on graduates since 2005. Students who graduate and they're having their education paid for. Kalamazoo Promise, just learning about this. So if you think about the 21st Century Scholar piece, that if about, let's just say at least 50% of our kids qualify, and we have 800 kids graduate a year, roughly, then 400 kids could graduate with the 21st Century Scholar program to at least have their tuition paid for. Then if we could find a way through a lot of effort to find a way to help, you know, you're always going to have some students who will earn scholarships academically and so on, but what about that other group of kids? And again, those are backbone kids that usually don't get a lot of attention. So someday, if we could find a solution for those backbone kids to give them some support for college, that would be a goal. So 21st Century Scholars is something we're just at the start of this, and hopefully we'll build and grow from there.
Travis, in June, would you mind letting us know how many of those 8th graders we actually got enrolled, please?
We'll know that by tomorrow. We'll know that by tomorrow, so Renee will have information.
I think she means in addition to what we had up to today.
Right now.
No, I
Right,
mean,
she wants
by the end of the school year, how many of our 8th
How much?
graders are we getting enrolled?
How many more?
Yeah.
Okay.
We're not done with that work yet. We're going to really go after the 8th graders because those 6th and 7th graders, we still have a chance to enroll them. But there's still a whole group of 8th graders that we need to go after. And it's not like efforts haven't been made, but it's been a lot more challenging than we anticipated.
No, and you're right, our schools are doing things to promote this. It's just getting those groups of parents in and getting the information we need.
It goes back to the multicultural problem that we have and understanding the communication, how to talk with people that are not the same culture that we're accustomed to. So we have to
You
do
know,
all
Mrs.
that.
Kraft, you're right, and Mr. Denny reminded me, I mean, you know, if they will bring us the information, we're actually inputting it in and putting it in for them. So, I mean, we're going to great lengths to get what we need to do. We just don't have, I would prefer to stand here in front of you and say, okay, here's our system. Here's how we identify, here's what we do, and we don't have that. Each school does something a little bit different. It's not like we're not doing anything, but there needs to be a system, and we just need to make it a little bit more prescriptive and intentional with what we're doing.
But it has to be diverse as well.
Absolutely.
So that's-
Sure, without it. The last slide, just kind of next steps. We will increase awareness of the pathways with our students, especially with our middle school students. We've talked about our teachers choosing pathways, continue to work with our students' job shadowing and internships, those teacher externships. We've talked about development and the implementation of the work ethic certification, and we'll bring you back an update on that. And then the last thing is to develop that 21st Century Scholar system and increase the enrollment. So that's kind of where we see this taking off when school starts back. So appreciate the time to give you the update. It's exciting, good stuff. So thanks.
Very comprehensive. Good job.
Clapping,
Ms. Howe, would you take us through the IRE report?
Good evening. I'm excited to tell you a little bit about our preliminary iRead experience. It's this time of year that we begin to reap the benefits of all of our hard work from our students and teachers and principals. And we now are operating in an age of accountability like never before. And iRead is the newest piece of that picture. And it was an offset of the House Enrolled Act of 1367, also known as Public Law 109 in 2010. And we began the iRead for the first time in 2012. So this year was our third administration of that test. Legislation was created to ensure that all students could read proficiently by the end of third grade. And how is this different from iStep? iStep is actually the English language arts portion that tests both language, reading, and the writing pieces, and it's to calculate state accountability. And the iRead is specifically to measure foundational reading skills in our students. And those skills help to provide strengthening their overall success in all core subjects. The iStep and iRead, the comparison is iRead 3 is multiple choice only. And it encompasses material from grades K through 3, and it covers standards 1 through 3. Whereas the iStep itself is applied skills, open-ended, and written portions, as well as multiple choice, and it focuses on all 6 standards, and specifically standards 3, 5, and 6, which is comprehension over literary text, writing, and conventions. Foundational reading skills begin in kindergarten, and these are skills that focus on decoding and comprehending. It allows children to really focus on the basic meaning of what is being read. And students who lack those foundational skills will have difficulty understanding what they're reading and answering test questions. The foundational reading skills in grade 3 particularly include vocabulary, nonfiction and informational text, as well as literary text. The informational text focuses on making connections and predictions and identifying important information within the text, whereas the literary text focuses more on story elements, plot, character, problem solution, identifying the theme of various genres within the reading. Unfortunately, we do have consequences for those students who do not pass iRead 3. And we are obligated, which we continue throughout the year, to provide remediation for them, which consists of specific interventions for sub-skill deficits that will receive that information from the test results. And that is in addition to their 90 minutes of core instruction that consists of small group as well as frequent progress monitoring. Students will have the opportunity to retake the test. Our date this year we have selected will be June 20th, immediately following summer school, and then we'll have our final results, because the students who did not pass this time will have that opportunity to come back, and then our results will be updated from that.
Are they required to take summer school?
Yes, they do. They are. Students who, after they retake the test, we believe, our philosophy is that we want all students to continue to receive that remediation, and we want them to set goals for themselves to improve in their performance. And so we ask that all students, even if they're special needs or our ELL population, that they participate in that remediation and retake the test. Students who have previously been retained 2 times prior to grade 4 can be exempt from that, as well as our special education students and our ELL students who have an individual learning plan. We can have a conference to determine if promotion is appropriate for them or not. So we do have a little bit of leeway with those students who have special needs. We're very proud. This year we have a comparison, this is preliminary, from our past 3 years. And our goal, and the state goal, is for all schools to have a 90% passing rate. We are steadily approaching that magic number, and this year we stand at 87.5%, which is an overall increase of 4.2%. 10 of our 12 schools did show gains, and 1 is very, very close, and then Spring Hill, because they are such a small school and smaller numbers of students, when they have just a few that don't pass, it results in a greater percent. But overall, we're very pleased at this point, and we have strong hope that we'll see an even greater increase after our June administration of the test. So that concludes my report. Are there any questions? You're welcome. Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Well, we're excited to hear about the intercession.
I have the last report of the evening. The spring intercession report, and just a reminder, this is our first year of full implementation of intercession. Our intercessions are set up on the belief that high quality, additional time in good instruction will help kids catch up if they're academically behind. Following that belief, in the spring this year, we had invited 1,976 students to participate in our spring intercession. That is an increase of about 800 students from the fall. So we did grow as a program. Our actual number of students that attended was 1,475, which is also an increase of about 500 students. So we really have about a little over 75% that are attending. If you go to the next slide, our attendance rate for the spring was 86% at Charlestown High, 82% at Jeff, and 91%. Each of those represents a nice kind of steady increase. The one caveat with the spring is that as we expanded our program for the high school kids, we had kids that were engaging in credit recovery, so they may have come for 3 days and not needed to come any longer. So those numbers are a little bit skewed. They may have finished their coursework through the online program in maybe a couple days. So our student growth data, which is something that we, after our fall, we had similar student growth data, but we wanted to make sure that we were kind of comparing apples to apples. So at the school level, remember, intercession is really an offshoot of our impact, of our whole intervention program. So for our progress monitoring, we stopped our progress monitoring on February 28th because we wanted the time through March, when they tested at the end of intercession, we wanted to be able to see what kind of gains were made. And we're pleased to report at Jeffersonville High School, with the elementaries, we had on the STAR assessment, 59% of the students showed gains. Overall point gains would be 10.6. And as you kind of look down the list, you might see that there are a couple negative numbers. If one student happens to just bail out on the test or kind of not participate or show a big deficit, that can kind of show show a drop or result a drop in your overall average points. But we really wanted to look at the percent of students that gained. If you look at the secondary schools during Jeffersonville, we went to 64% of those students showed a gain, which was up about 4% from the fall. At Charlestown High School, the elementary stayed steady at 62%. Improving, and at the high schools we were at 56%, which was about a 3% gain from the fall as well. And then at New Washington, we had actually, as Kim kind of talked about with Spring Hill, when you have a smaller group, your numbers, only a couple kids can kind of send your percentages off, but we had 41% improve at the elementary and 53% improve at the high school. That's a drop a little bit, but we served more kids up there than we did in the fall. The reflection overall, through the whole year, it's been a positive experience, and really what intercession has touched on is a lot what Natalie talked about, what Kim has talked about. We are servicing kids in high need, and one of the kids in poverty come because they're going to get fed, they've got structure, their security, they crave that, and we were providing that in those times, and really just in the faces of the kids and just the whole atmosphere. We have documented academic gains. We hope to see that transfer into ISTEP performance, ECA performance, and probably kind of as we're looking at next year, we need to review logistics. Some of the things that we're talking about are, can we increase attendance rate if we change locations, if we offer it at more locations? Can we increase transportation? We would like to expand our enrichment. We only were able to offer 2 enrichment programs. during the spring intercession as to about 6 that we offered in the fall. Some of that may have been just parents going on spring break, wanting to take their kids. But the 2 that we offered, the one was another engineering class, which is a partnership with the University of Louisville. It was great. We had over 20 kids involved. And then Miss Kanisha Zell, who's our brand new teacher at Parkview, a theater teacher, had almost 40 kids participate in theater. Booming program, and she just did an amazing job. So we've really talked about partnering with our gifted and talented programs and really looking at how we can expand enrichment offerings.
I just got one comment, just to remind those who didn't know that the governor even acknowledged everyone's hard work on the intersection with the proclamation that was received. So just keep doing what you're doing. I think it's wonderful.
Thank you. Thank you.
It's great to see more kids participating in higher levels of them improving. So, I mean, that's a win-win.
Thank you. I'm sorry I got tied up there. I appreciate the update. I mean, again, we're looking at the total number of hours of instruction that wasn't there times 2, you know, and then all of the logistics that go around to get these kids fed and to the schools and all. I mean, it's incredible effort. So
By the time summer school's over, we'll have 76 hours of additional instruction, which I think is incredible.
that's fantastic. So thank you for the efforts. All right. We have the consent, the consent agenda, items 1 through 7. I'd like to take all those together.
Motion to accept.
Thank you, Mr. Satterley.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Hall. He,
He's got the microphone down.
he's got the microphone now, he's booming.
You won't let me have.
All right, questions, comments? If not, all in favor? I think that was 7-0. So, all right, and we've got Dr. Mellon. I think you have a few comments since we've got the consent agenda approved.
Yes, Board, if you don't mind, I'd like to introduce a couple of administrative reassignments. You know, our College and Career Readiness Initiative, as you heard from Mr. Hare, a lot of work is being done in that regard. And a key addition is, well, I didn't even know that we had in our own midst an expert in College and Career Readiness. And at River Valley Middle School, Michael Denny, who's been our principal there, he has a lot of experience that he gained in Kentucky. In fact, he was a principal of a career center over in Kentucky, in Oldham County. And so as we tried to look at trying to manage this huge initiative, which frankly is an umbrella that's covering our entire operational focus of our district, we felt we needed more support. So you approved this evening a reassignment of Mr. Denny to become our Career Center Director at Jeffersonville High School. Now, he not only will be working at Jeffersonville High School, building those relationships, expanding internship opportunities, teacher externships, all those things that you read about, but also that 21st Century Scholar Program being a resource to not only at the high school level, but also at our middle schools. And obviously with his vast experience, we think he's going to be perfect for that role. So if you would, Board, I just want to introduce Michael Denny as our He'll be a great addition to our team, and Travis Hare is leading that team, as you know. Here in Charlestown at the high school, Carrie Vaughn actually works for the mayor's office. But the mayor has been kind enough to allow Carrie to come here. Mr. Lofter, Mr. Rowland, they have provided her office space, and so she's going to be providing a similar type of service to Charlestown and New Washington students. And so Carrie and Michael Denny will join Travis and Christy Steller through a grant, hopefully, that you will consider here shortly. Hopefully will join us in a capacity, joining that team as well. The other big news is Mr. Denny, we're really thankful to have him moving into his new capacity, but that also means that we have a need for a new principal at River Valley Middle School. And we have an individual who we're very proud of, who has spent 14 years as the principal of Pleasant Ridge Elementary here in Charlestown. I know it's a loss to Charlestown, However, River Valley Middle School obviously is in need of a person of her caliber with great experience and knowledge. And so, Board, if you would, we're very thankful to have Michelle Dyer move to the principalship of River Valley Middle School. Now, I know, Board, that your expectation will be of us that Michelle Dyer, we have to have somebody that will fill her shoes. And we understand the importance of that. And Charlestown deserves that. And so we'll be posting the position here. And we believe that we have several very strong internal candidates in our school system that we feel will be ready to come in and take the foundation that has been built by Michelle at Pleasant Ridge and continue to move it forward. So we want to promise our Charlestown family that we understand the importance of that. But both Michelle and Michael are going to be great additions in their new capacity, so I couldn't be more proud of having them in those roles.
Fantastic. Well, congratulations. All right. The next item is gifts to schools, or gifts to buildings, I should say. So, Mr. Sadler, would you take the honor, please?
Absolutely. Every meeting we have something. I don't think we've had a meeting yet that we've not had something donated to our schools. Looks like Charlestown Middle School and Jeff High and New Washington Middle School all got something again. Charlestown Sharks, I assume that's the swim team. I'm just guessing. And it's just wonderful how the community steps up, and we appreciate it. And I'll make a motion to accept the gifts to the building.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Kraft, on the second.
Second.
Questions, comments? All in favor? So, thank you. Board, we have 4 action items tonight. The first one is the bid award for contract bus routes, and I think Dr. Dykels going to take us through that.
Yes, we had the notice of intent to negotiate school bus transportation fleet contract routes, which was published Saturday, March 29th and Saturday, April 5th for Indiana Code. Proposals were opened and negotiated on April 15th, and I am recommending the award of 16 bus routes out of the 21 that we had bid. So we have several that we need to take back internally, I guess. You have a list of the successful proposals that are attached. Do you want me to read them off by any chance?
Yes, sir.
So we're recommending, superintendent recommends awarding contracted bus routes as indicated on the attached spreadsheet.
I'll move to accept.
Thank you, Mr. Satterwhite.
Second.
And thank you, Mr. White. I think I heard first.
That's okay.
That's perfect.
All right. Questions, comments? All right. All in favor? All right. 7-0. Thank you. Looks like item number 2 is the sale of the bus contract route.
Yes. Brad Valley, who is the owner of school bus 16C, has submitted his intent to sell his school bus and school route designated as 16C to Larry Blackwell upon board approval. A copy of Mr. Bollig's request is attached, and the superintendent recommends approving the sale of the bus contract route 16C to Larry Blackwell.
Motion to accept.
Thank you, Mr. Satterwhite. Second. Thank you, Mr. Hall. Ms. Kraft, or Ms. Perkins will jump in there. All right. All in favor? All right. 7-0. Thank you. All right, next item is the Region 10 CTE Awareness Grant Contract.
Thank you, President Pavey. Board, as I mentioned earlier, it is my recommendation that you accept a Department of Workforce Development grant for $65,000 for the establishment of a position to coordinate Region 10 counselor awareness in the development of a Greater Clark County Schools work ethic certificate program. Again, in short, Region 10 has a works council chaired by Paul Perkins from Amatrol. I'm fortunate enough to be on that council. The state provided each works council with a $65,000 grant opportunity. I worked with Mr. Perkins as well as Alan Taylor from Prosser Career Center, and the creation of a position that would be filled by Christy Steller, who is a counselor in our school system. She would be a career pathway counselor. She would give 5 workshops around the region for counselors from not just Greater Clark, but the entire region. but she would focus her energies on helping us develop that work ethics certificate that we'll bring back to you in greater detail, but it's going to be a great thing for our kids, and it'll be a K through 12 initiative.
Move to approve.
Thank you, Ms. Gilkey.
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Perkins.
Yay.
She got it done.
All
I'm
right.
just reading.
Questions, comments?
I'm just so excited about this. The grant and what they're gonna be able to put together, I think it's wonderful.
All right, all in favor? 7-0, thank you. All right, next item is 2014 summer school proposal.
Yes. For the first time in a very long time, we are looking to provide K-12 elementary, middle, high school summer school programming. We've gotten away from it for a while. Thanks to Dr. Dykle, he's given us a little bit of funding to help us at least provide 9 days, so 36 hours of instruction through the summer. Elementary and middle will be at their actual schools. There will not be transportation provided, unfortunately, but they will at least be at their local schools. And our goal is to serve about 10% of the population. Obviously, the students who need the iRead intervention, and they will retake iRead. Then at the high school, we do credit recovery, and then students who have not passed the ECA or need to retake, they'll be able to retake the ECA in the summer as well. We're looking at, we don't know exactly what the state reimbursement is going to be at this point, but we have applied for that.
Okay.
Move to accept.
Is Mr. Satterley? And I think I saw Ms. Perkins second. Yeah. Questions, comments? All right, all in favor? Thank you. Thank you.
That's great.
All right. Looks like any discussion items, any board reports are in place. Ms. Ryan? Ms. Perkins? Mr. Satterley? That's correct.
Thank you, Charlestown High
Go
School,
ahead.
for hosting
Thank
us.
you.
No report.
Okay. All right, we don't have any public comments on non-agenda items. So with that, we'll move on to board comments. So,
I
Mr.
want to
Hall?
thank Mr. Lofter and Mr. Rowland for allowing us to come to Charlestown High School. I always wish and hope for a bigger turnout, but I guess that kind of means there's nothing bad going on. So, and I want to thank Natalie and the Food Service Department. It's a great meal. Thank you very much.
Well, congratulations to Michelle and Mr. Demian. I know that you both do a good job where you've done a good job where you've been, so we appreciate all your hard work. And on behalf of the Education Foundation, I would like to thank all the board members, and I know one of our board members couldn't be there, but we would have had 100% attendance at our, I want to call it a gala, because I felt like it was a great celebration at Kai's the other night, where we recognized the Teachers of the Year from every single building and the non-certified person. It just lifted my spirits, and I just had a great time, and I hope if you didn't come this year, that you will come next year, because it was great fun. Very proud.
Mr. Satterley?
I'll just congratulate both, and I do know one person in particular is going to be missing you, Michelle. And I'm related to her, so congratulations to both of you.
Ms. Kraft?
Thank you.
Nothing. Mr. White?
Oh, just congratulations, Michael and Michelle, and thanks to all of our administrative team for all those reports tonight. They're very, very positive and going in the right direction. And like Teresa said, you missed a really upbeat, positive event Wednesday night if you weren't able to come. Just recognize a few of our great employees, but we've got many, many more that don't get it. So just say thanks to the employees when you send whoever they may be. Thank you.
Long night, but awesome night. There are a lot of great things happening in Greater Clark. I'm very proud to be on this board. I'm proud to be home. I don't know if you guys know it or not, you have 3 board members up here who graduated from Charlestown High School. So it's good to be home. And thank you for hosting us.
And I too would like to thank you, Mr. Lofton, for hosting us tonight. Great facility. We always enjoy coming in here. It's picture perfect. Ms. Dyer, just really proud of you. You've got a big job ahead of you, but I know you're up to the task. And Mr. Denny, thanks all for everything you've done at River Valley. You're about to embark in some very important work. We're really excited about getting you started there because it means a lot to this board to get that program up and going. So we look forward to your leadership in that new position. So.
One last comment, really, Board, you again appreciate everything, your support. Another piece of good news, graduation rate. Mr. Loeffner referred to that earlier. Charlestown High School's graduation rate is just shy of 95%, which is outstanding. As a school district, 90.2%. which that's a threshold that you try to reach. And that takes a lot of work and a lot of effort on the part of a lot of people. And I think we can be very proud of our staff, of our students, of our parents' support. So we hope to continue to grow and build from that 90.2. But you know what, even more importantly to me is the waiver percentage. Because if you take a look at the percentage of diplomas granted via waiver, only 7.7% of our diplomas were granted via the waiver process, which I believe is at least 1 full point below the state average. I think the state average was 8.7 or 8.9 or something of that nature.
Weren't we the lowest in the whole area?
We were the lowest in the whole area by far. All the other school systems were in double digits with waivers. So I'm very proud of the fact that you know, our people are doing it all the right way, and we're moving in. Another good piece of information for us to end tonight, and thanks for your support.
Mr. President,
Yes.
I believe we have some guests here that
Yes.
perhaps Michelle would like to introduce.
I just bring my fan club everywhere I go.
I would like to know who they are.
Oh, well, my dad and my mother, Doyle and Lily Zare, I'm an only child. You may know that if you're with me 5 minutes. And so my dad is an educator, was for many years, so I'm continuing the tradition. He was also he was a K-8 principal back in the day when we had them all together. And my mother worked food service. She was a food service director for the schools. So for the first 8 years of my school career, we went to school together. It was a great thing, right?
Does she want to sub?
Probably not now. And then sitting on my left, I have my husband Chuck and my 16-year-old son Austin. My 19-year-old's at Georgia Tech, getting ready to come home in a couple of weeks. So and they traveled up here to back me. So.
All right. Okay, well, I guess a motion to adjourn. Ms. Kraft? And I need a second. Mr. Savage?
All right.
All right, all in favor? All right, good night. Thank you.